We were a very, very small organization with minimum funding. And Feeding Northeast Florida came to our assistance and allowed us to provide the 3 meals per day that we give to our residents here.
Well, you know, the partnership has been awesome over the years. That it allows us to provide meals to hungry people who are on the street. The veterans that we see, low-income families who depend on us every day.
What we gain from our partnership with Feeding Northeast Florida is the framework and the structure and the retail connections that allow us to do food recovery. And what Beam brings to the partnership is efficiency. With us being right here at the beach, it just makes sense for our truck and our volunteers to do the food recovery.
We are actually in the business of reaching out to individuals from a spiritual and a physical need. And the food bank has provided that physical need, the basic need of food for families that are unable to provide for themselves.
Sulzbacher Center is the largest meal provider in downtown Jacksonville. We serve over 560,000 meals every year to people who are hungry. And Feeding Northeast Florida provides about 75% of that food.
Well, Feeding Northeast Florida has been a great partner for LSS. From the day I started here, Feeding Northeast Florida has been nothing but helpful to us. We also we have one food pantry ourselves, and we support 5 other food pantries. So a lot of that support comes from Feeding Northeast Florida. We're not the food bank, we're a food ministry, and we couldn't do it without the partnership of Feeding Northeast Florida.
Well, the USO is 100% self-supported, so we rely on our partners, and Feeding Northeast Florida has been a great partner with our USO Military Families Healthy Foods Initiative. So it's impacting the young enlisted families that struggle financially.
Well, for every dollar that's donated to Feeding Northeast Florida, it's multiplied many, many times. It's such an investment because when a donor makes a gift to Feeding Northeast Florida, we're able to then buy the kind of food that we need, and it's only pennies on the pound.
I want to tell you, when you are a donor, what it means to these folks. A lot of our people are really struggling to meet their needs from paycheck to paycheck. So having a food pantry available means they can use their money to pay rent, to pay for their JEA bill. They don't necessarily have to spend those hard-earned dollars on food.
Greater Jacksonville USO would like to thank the greater donors of Feeding Northeast Florida for their support. Obviously, without their support, Feeding Northeast Florida could not support our USO and the Healthy Foods Initiative program that we've started just the past couple of months.
So when you are supporting Feeding Northeast Florida, you're supporting Sulzbacher and all of the people that we serve, in addition to many, many, many other agencies in this town that are feeding hungry people on a daily basis.
There is a family that has been coming to our church. Actually, this lady, her husband had gotten murdered, and it's actually on the west side of Jacksonville. She has 4 children, destitute. We have had to help her every week as far as food, and then we pay her light bill. Actually, she stays in one of our houses on our property.
One couple stands out in particular. They were both employed at the same company. They had 2 children. They both lost a lot of hours with their job. They went from full-time to part-time. When they came up to the church to get food, the father and the husband broke down and cried because he felt like he was letting his family down by not being able to provide for them. And he was so thankful and grateful for the food that we gave them.
Recently, a family of 3, a mom who has worked all her life but is on short-term disability, and they're just waiting for the insurance and the paperwork and all the bureaucracy that has to happen for that assistance to begin to help this family. So right now, a 20-year-old is supporting her mom and her young teenage brother. And it's hard to make ends meet. They're going to be fine again in several weeks, but right now, having access to the food that the food bank collects and that is in our pantry is helping make sure that that family stays whole and can focus on the healing that they need for mom to get better.
And recently we had a gentleman come to us who was very ill. He could not swallow. He had a lot of pain in his throat, and ultimately he was diagnosed with throat cancer. As a result, he had been on a very poor diet. So we were actually able to get him some very healthy food through our food pantry for several weeks after his surgery and radiation, so that he could begin to recover and regain his health.
We're helping so many people every day, and not just feeding, but they're throughout the community, and we're glad to be their partner.